their property tax bill. If you take a look at an overhead picture of it, they have tennis courts on the far side, a swimming pool, and then the land goes down to the river, and they have docks down there by the river. Very, very nice house. And for the kids, we have something coming up, so keep your eyes open. You're going to have a surprise here right around this corner. See it, kids? Pictures of it show that the roof was about this high by the time they were done. It just smashed the trolley. Thankfully, it was a big red, not one of these things that would have a cloth roof. Several people were injured, and that was in 1918. They decided it was time to build a tunnel. The tunnel was opened in 1921. We'll talk more about the tunnel on the way back. their rulings and said that the wigwag, of which there were over 1,000 here in Oregon and tens of thousands across the U.S., the wigwag is no more. It was replaced with a double flash and the X, and these were just removed overnight. Make sure you're clear on the right. Because there was a new federal regulation, the railroad companies came out and just replaced them all. No fanfare. As a child in the Midwest, I saw a lot of these things, and then we saw the new ones, and I thought nothing of it until I was a young man, and I was in the Midwest again, passing through, and there was a wigwag. It's one of those things that I just forgot about, but this is the only working wigwag on an active rail in the entire state. We had 3 of them, but trucks and cars took care of the other 2. And when, not if, but when a truck takes care of that one, it will be gone forever, because you cannot get the parts for it. Here's the Willamette. Good views of the Willamette River. Through the trees on the right-hand side, you can see a big white building over there. That building is Waverly Country Club. Now, Waverly is the second oldest continuously operating golf course west of Mississippi. But Waverly has not always been a golf course. Prior to being a golf course, it was an orchard. In this orchard, they grew all sorts of stuff. Mostly they grew cherries, apples, and back in the 1880s, their gardener, the head gardener, was way ahead of his time, and he was doing something he's done regularly today. That's called grafting, where you kind of branch off of one tree and plant it on another and create a new fruit. He created a new fruit that was so good that they named it after him. The head gardener's name, it was a cherry, and the head gardener's name was Bing. So the Bing cherry was created right over here at Waverly Golf Course back in the 1880s. I draw your attention to this building coming up on the right-hand side. It has tiles on the roof. This is the Palatine Pump Station. Palatine Pump Station supplied all of the water to Portland from 1880 to 1895. Prior to 1880, the pump station was at the Hawthorne Bridge, but it became so polluted it was no longer drinkable. So they opened up this station here. You can see a square building down at the base. After it was closed in 1895, it sat empty for many, many, many years, and then there was a fire, and it sat empty, and so somewhere in the early 1920s, a private individual purchased it and built the house on top of the original pump station. Now this little house is a quaint little thing. It's 6 stories tall, 18,000 square feet, 14 bedrooms, has an indoor elevator, a swimming pool on the ground floor, and again, I repeat, they would not answer the door unless I had an Amazon package. Now this is as far as we can go right now. We have trestles up ahead that failed federal inspections. They will not allow these big cars to go across it, so we're going to have to head back that direction. And to do that, I see 3 choices.